Netflix's Avatar has one of the weirdest audience splits I've ever seen. My friend's father watched it and called it an absolute masterpiece. Then he tried the original animated series and couldn't even finish it. That's when I realized something. Maybe Netflix didn't fail us. Maybe we're watching it with a completely different brain than everyone else. Let's be honest, most of us didn't actually watch Netflix's Avatar. We audited it. Every episode turned into a checklist. That line wasn't there. They skipped this. Aang smiled differently. They changed Boomy. You're not watching a TV show anymore. You're running quality assurance for your childhood. My friend's father had none of that. He didn't know which scenes were supposed to happen. He wasn't waiting for Kyoshi. He wasn't counting episodes. He was just watching a fantasy series. And because of that, he judged what was actually on screen, not what was missing. I caught myself doing the exact same thing. The moment Katara spoke, my brain wasn't asking, is this good? It was asking, did she sound like the cartoon? Those are completely different questions. Here's another thing people don't talk about: animation sheets. And that's not an insult, it's literally what makes animation beautiful. Characters can move faster, expressions become exaggerated, camera angles ignore physics, bending feels almost like dancing because drawings don't have weight. Live action doesn't get that luxury. Real actors have muscles, real costumes exist, real gravity exists. Imagine if Netflix recreated every animated expression frame for frame. People would have called it cringe. Look at Marvel whenever CGI faces become too cartoonish. The internet destroys it. So the adaptation had to make bending heavier, movements slower, conversations more grounded. Not because they misunderstood Avatar, because that's what happens when cartoons become flesh and blood. And before someone says, then why even make a live-action version? Because it was never made primarily for people who've already watched Avatar 5 times. You already have the original. You have Legend of Korra. You have the upcoming Aang movie. This adaptation exists for people who want to experience this world in live action, because believe it or not everyone connects with animation the same way we do. Translation isn't photocopying, it's adaptation. And this is where I think fandoms accidentally sabotage themselves. Accuracy isn't the same thing as quality. If your biggest compliment is, they copied the scene perfectly, then congratulations. You wanted YouTube clips with a higher budget, not a television series. Some of my favorite adaptation moments are the ones that aren't identical, because they ask, what works in live action, not how do we recreate frame 427 from book 1. And honestly, that's why my friend's father enjoyed it more than most Avatar fans. He wasn't trying to protect childhood memories, he was simply asking one question: did this entertain me? Meanwhile, we showed up carrying 20 years of expectations and somehow expected the show to beat nostalgia. That's a fight almost nobody wins. Look, I'm not saying Netflix's Avatar is perfect. It isn't. But there's a huge difference between criticizing a show and refusing to let it become its own thing. Because if every adaptation is forced to compete with the version you've already memorized, then no remake will ever be good enough. Not because it's bad, because you've already decided the winner before episode 1 even starts. So now I'm curious, if you'd never seen the original Avatar, would you still hate this show? Or are you grading memories instead of television? And honestly, I think this opens an even bigger conversation about how we process animation versus live action. I'm probably making an entire video on that next. So if that sounds interesting, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.